Hi everyone, Adam here, and this is a collection update. Just taking you through some of the DVDs and 4Ks and vinyl I recently picked up. Okay, we're going to start off with the DVDs. First up, South Park, the post-COVID specials. I actually haven't seen these, but I do enjoy South Park. I still think it's a pretty funny show. I just haven't got around to watching these episodes. But anything South Park is usually pretty funny. Up next, Cobra Kai Season 2. I do have Season 1. I still haven't got around to watching it yet, but I will. I might do that soon because I am a fan of the original Karate Kid. And I'll see how this show goes. I hear it's pretty good. I've really got to get onto watching this show. Next up is Sissy, an Australian horror film. I think more people should see this. It was one of the most surprising. Features a good mix of satire, dark humour. I reckon more people should see this. If you like a good horror film, I don't want to say too much about the plot because it's best if you know very little about it, but it was one of the most surprising and enjoyable horror movies of last year, so I'd say if you're a horror fan, check it out. Okay, on to the 4Ks. First up, I have the King Kong, the 1978, I think it is, version. I remember enjoying it when I was a kid, so I'm interested to see how it holds up these days. Yeah, this is part of the Classics Remastered range. And speaking of classics, this is, of course, Poltergeist on 4K. I did watch it and it looks great. This movie still holds up pretty well. Of course, some of the effects have aged, but it's still a great little haunted house story. Next, this is one of the few musicals I actually like. The Blues Brothers, mix of music and comedy. It does have a great soundtrack and some pretty enjoyable performances. And then there was a sequel, which nobody likes. Up next, this classic, of course, Scream. Don't have to say too much about it. It's the movie that pretty much revitalized the horror genre back in the 90s. It is fun. The special features, Bloody Legacy, Scream, 25 years later. So that'll be interesting. I'm not sure if I've seen that documentary, actually. Also picked up Scream 2. I think this is a pretty solid sequel. They kind of get away with it, especially when they're talking about how sequels aren't always as good as the original, so that kind of works. Okay, another one from the Classics Remastered range. This is, of course, Highlander. There can only be one. And then they made several sequels after it. None of the sequels have been as good as the original. And apparently they're doing a remake, so that'll be interesting. I don't know why you had a Frenchman playing a Scot and a Scotsman playing an Egyptian, and for some reason it actually worked. I mean, it's a fun movie. I always enjoy Highlander, and a great soundtrack by Queen too. Up next, Halloween Ends. Definitely one of the most divisive movies that came out last year. I didn't love it. I gave it another look. I was willing to give it another chance. I'm still kind of meh on it. Of course, most of you know the story now, but if you liked it, that's fine. If you didn't like it, that's fine. I'm still... Look, I will admit it's not a badly made movie. Still not sure about the story. You know, with Corey, Pucci, Cunningham. Okay, I'm just joking around. Okay, next up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe range. I'm not sure how many movies this is by now, but I still enjoy the MCU. I know some people have gone off it, but you know what? I still enjoy it. This was pretty decent. I think they did pretty well for what happened to Chadwick Boseman. yeah, so plus I've got all the other Marvel movies in the collection. So, and here we have Black Adam, the movie that killed the DCEU. Okay, look, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was great, but I've got all the other DCEU movies. I'm still interested to see what James Gunn is going to do with the whole rebooting and everything. You know, people are already gunning for him, no pun intended. I mean, even though he hasn't even released any movies in the new DC universe, I guess. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens next. And to finish up, I did pick up the Halloween End soundtrack. I mean, the Halloween soundtracks are always pretty good. And of course, it's composed by John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, and Daniel Davis. Okay, there's the front with Michael there. On the inner, sorry about the glare, there's Michael. Obviously, and there's the inner sleeve. There's everybody's favourite character, Corey, and of course Allison. Now there's a track listing there. And this is an Australian and New Zealand exclusive. This has the cloudy green on it, which I think is pretty cool. It's kind of different from the other ones. Okay, that's going to do it for this collection update. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm Adam, and I'll see you again soon.